Professor K. Purushotham Reddy. Professor Reddy is a contemporary and a good friend of Shri, late SJaipal Reddy. He is an eminent environmentalist, political scientist and developmental activist. He received MA, MPhil and PhD in political science from Osmania University. His PhD thesis is titled Environmental Policy and Education, an investigative analysis of eco-degradation of Patancheru in Andhra Pradesh. He held several posts as an academician, as professor, head of department, and chairman of board of studies in the political science department. He was director for Center for Environmental Studies at Osmania University. He is a resource person for many universities and their academic staff colleges in the state. MCHRD, AP Judicial Academy, MIT School of Government, Pune, ESCI and Center for Cultural Resource Training as India's most eminent environmentalist. A true Gandhian in spirit with zero tolerance towards elements that disrupt social harmony and cause oppressions. He calls the society as his lab and dedicated his life for the cause of society and environment. So I cordially invite Professor K. Purushotham Reddy to the podium.
Respected Chief Guest, Shri Shanker garu, our distinguished guest, Shri Mohan Guruswamy garu, distinguished invitees, members of the family of SJaipalReddy garu. In fact, it is my privilege to be able to stand here because I have been associated with SJaipalReddy garu. He was my senior in the college. And together we were products of our time. And those times, believe me friends, the system was open, where the mind was free and without fear. In the words of Rabindranath Tagore, we had absolute freedom. We could invite any person, we could listen to their speeches, we would have tremendous interaction. So there were no restrictions from the state side. And that was the time when we heard the who is who of India, right from Nehruji and, Dr. Ramanohar Lohia, Vajpayee, you name it and I can tell. Even Supreme Court judges, Justice Gajendra Gadkar. So SJaipalReddy being a product, a witness to those times, he was elected many times in the college. He became the OUSU president. Entire Osmania University had one students' union, and elected members from all the colleges would vote. So that was the time when there was freedom, when we were all products of, I'm not saying that we participated in the freedom struggle, but definitely we were the first beneficiaries of the excellent leadership which emerged after independence. I do not wish to take much time, but it's very important that I recall my teacher, Professor Shivaya Garu, because the topic is Panchayat Raj, and Professor Shivaya, who was in Osmania University, subsequently joined NIRD. He was heading the political science division of NIRD. It so happened that Rajiv Gandhi visited as Prime Minister NIRD, and in his speech, something which became very famous, he talked about the journey of a rupee. అంటే ఢిల్లీ నుంచి ఒక రూపాయి బయలుదేరింది, కానీ గ్రామ పంచాయతీకి పోయేసరికి దాని వాల్యూ 15 అంటే అది 15 పైసలకు అంటే తరుగుడు పోయింది. సో మధ్యన ఎవరు కొట్టేసినారు ఏం కదా, that's a separate story. But I wish to point out that there is a book in political science written by Harold Laswell. And the name of the book is Politics is Who Gets What, When and How. The remaining I leave it for your imagination. So when the Prime Minister visited NIRD, he expressed his anguish. Then NIRD Director General suggested Professor Shivaya's name, and the Prime Minister and my teacher, they had a long conversation, and the task of drafting the Panchayat Raj bill which subsequently became 73rd and 74th. That was entrusted to Professor Shivaya Garu, and it is because of his immense contribution. Believe me, he was a great intellectual without even 1 degree of selfishness. He sacrificed his life for the growth of the knowledge. So because of that attitude, this wonderful legislation came into being. But during Rajiv Gandhi's time, when it was introduced, it was known as the 64th and 65th Amendment. But unfortunately, then Rajiv Ji did not have the majority in the Rajya Sabha, and therefore it could not be adopted. Subsequently, 2 other prime ministers, but during P.V. Narasimha Rao's time, he was able to garner the requisite majority, and that particular bill was adopted under it's known as the 73rd and 74th Amendment. I am not going into the small little details, but I wish to point out what is the status. Today, definitely, the local governments enjoy what we call constitutional protection. To that extent, it is fine. But unfortunately, certain things have gone wrong in this country. The Election Commission, which is supposed to be autonomous, the State Election Commission, the State Finance Commission, in many a state, they toe the policy of the state government, which is unfortunate. As a result, what is happening? The local panchayats, particularly you take it in even urban government, because myself and Subbarao ji, during the COVID time, sir, we organized 100 webinars on the very many issues faced by Hyderabad and others similar urban areas in the country. I just wish to point out certain things which need to be rectified, because we are very fortunate to have our distinguished chief guest, who is an authority on this subject, and we have in this hall Professor Shanker Chatterjee, who is still recently retired from NIRD, but he is an authority unto himself. So the first point is, in spite of the constitutional status, local governments, that is panchayats and municipalities, they lack effective devolution of powers and functions from the state government. This is a general complaint throughout the country. It's not specific to our state. Second point is, at the district level and also at the state capital level, when it comes to the city, we have certain parallel institutions. For example, the District Health Society, District Rural Development Authority, DRDA, and District Water and Sanitation, etc. So they decide everything. In fact, the purpose of panchayats was to facilitate, in this country, at the grassroots level, a system of governance where direct democracy can manifest. Believe me, friends, I have visited many gram panchayats, and today we have quite a few sarpanches. I had the opportunity to participate in the Grama Sabhas, and believe me, nobody takes cognizance of what they decide. It is only over naam ke vaste. I'll go into the details subsequently. Then the subjects mentioned, that is the subjects which have been transferred to panchayats and also municipalities or municipal corporations, they are just illustrative. It's not a comprehensive list. But unfortunately, what is happening is that these local governments are told that it is comprehensive, and there is no proper training. As a result, the local governments are not asserting. Actually, if only they are told, particularly the concept of the doctrine of implied powers, to implement one power, you can go on increasing the powers connected with it. Doctrine of implied powers, which is the doctrine which saved America. Anyway, we don't have Chief Justice Marshall type in this country, and we are paying a very heavy price. And even there is no proper leadership that is being trained at the panchayat level. As a result, they are feeling depressed. తెలుగులో చెప్పాలంటే వాళ్ళు ఏమనుకుంటారంటే మేము ఏం చేస్తాం సార్ అంటే ఒక విధమైన డిప్రెషన్, helplessness, and that is destroying the entire system. I come to the next one. We have at the national level NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority, but at the state level, on paper also, we have SDMA. And again, whenever I say state, it is not this state. I am talking about the states in the country. State Disaster Management Authority, it should be allowed to, to work very effectively. For that, it should be given finances, personnel, and other facilities, and it should be working with the precautionary principle, because disasters need to be prevented. There is very little that we can do once it manifests, except for certain kinds of disasters. Then we come to small little things which can be done tomorrow. For example, where is the need to give this local area development funds to MLAs and MPs? Local area development funds, they can be directly transferred to the local governments. Madhyana veella pedarikamendi. Ante are we not trusting the wisdom of the people in the local government? The Grama Sabha is ultimate. So that can be done anytime. Sir, as all of us know, all the powers in this country are divided into, at the national level, central list, state list, and concurrent list. But then the power of local government, the power to manage local government, is vested with the state government. Now, why can't we trust the local governments? Why Madhyana state government pedarikam enduku? Sarpanchlan nammalema? Can't we trust the mayors? After all, just as we trust the central government, state government, we the people also trust. It is our own will. Please remember, it is we the people. When we vote for a national election, by virtue of our vote, some party becomes a ruling and someone becomes the prime minister. Same thing happens at the state level. Anyway, I request everyone to ponder on this. And lastly, I have seen so many Gram Panchayats, particularly when their meetings are going on, suddenly we notice one MLA comes, the constituency MLA. And believe me, there is so much of ruckus. Everybody leaves everything and their focus is on attending the MLA. This is very bad. Rule of law should be there. I don't understand the logic of MLA and MP attending local governments. This has to be rectified, or let there be a big discussion. So, one last point. As I mentioned about the central list, state list, and concurrent. Originally, India's state list had 66 powers. During the emergency, thanks to Mrs. Indira Gandhi, because when she imposed the emergency, definitely we all opposed it. But when Madam Gandhi did certain good things, definitely one should have the courage to appreciate. She has taken out from the state list 5 powers and added to the concurrent list. These are education, forests, protection of wild animals, administration of justice, weights and measures. I propose in this distinguished gathering that we should consider shifting the power that is there in number 5, entry 5, that is local government. That should be, you consider. I am not saying I am nobody to say that it should happen, but definitely that can be considered as a big remedy, or it can be described as a corrective mechanism. And I am looking forward to our chief guest, who is an authority on this. He has done tremendous work. Thank you, sir, for coming to Hyderabad, because we who have been living here, for us Delhi to bahut dur hai, but thanks to modern ways of communication and you being so accessible, almost the entire group that came to your house to invite us, they are here in the hall, sir. And thanks for coming. We look forward for your guidance, and because this is needed in the interest of India, in the interest of democracy, and we need to restore the confidence of the people, because on paper they have powers, but in reality no. In Telangana, like in other states, ordinary collector, how dare he suspend a people selected Gram Panchayat? And on flimsy grounds, can the chief secretary suspend just like that the state government? Public opinion is public opinion. It can't be taken for granted. So I thank the foundation, JaipalReddy Foundation, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reddy. We the people being the essence of democracy, so very well explained, and you have also enlightened us with all the effort and antecedents of the Panchayat Raj and the local government's amendments that have happened in Constitution of India. So thank you very much.